release of the newest episodes, I've been trying to avoid spoilers. As a matter of fact, the only spoiler that I've read has been I'm the T to the R to the X now, and nobody can lay me down. I'm Trixie Lyssis. It's the fact that Trixie's in the finale. And she won't let me forget it! Of course, Trixie loves the idea that she's right now partying on down inside the finale. Oh, this is going to be great. And it's Trixie's chance to shine and help Twilight sparkle. Oh, Trixie is so gonna rub it in everybody's face. Trixie, how would you like it if at one point I decided to write you a story where you come to find out that you are actually a freaking brontosaurus? Trixie would then fry you. Now get to the episode! Right. Well, as promised, guys, we are going back to February. We are going back to a certain awesome story featuring the Ghostbusters as we go back to the Ghost Child of the Ghostbusters by Agent G. Enjoy. Ghost Child and the Ghostbusters, Chapter 6, School Troubles. It was the next day, and Danny was walking the halls of his school. He had to admit, things were kind of going well. The Ghostbusters were staying at a hotel, but they seemed like nice guys. They kept their promise of to not tell his parents, although he did like being tested, poked, and even prodded a few times as they studied him in his ghost form. Still, it was better than being dissected, and at least he didn't have them to worry about. Plus, he spent time training ghost stories. Real ones, that is. Sam loved the one where they captured the Headless Horseman for Sleepy Hollow. Tucker was still rubbing in the fact that they proved the boogeyman was real. And how were they supposed to know that one? Well, these things were looking up. So, what time are we supposed to meet up with him after school? Tucker asked. He was walking next to Danny. Not long after they were thinking of showing my parents an ecto containment unit works. Maybe then, when they build it, I could use it to place the ghost inside of it. Danny was getting a bit sick and tired of putting ghosts back into the back ghost zone, only for them to find a way out, for Vlad to send them his way. They stopped by Danny's locker as he opened it up. You could see Sam walking their way after having one of her own classes. Hey, man, dude! Both teens groaned knowing that voice. Great, and here I was thinking things were going great. Should have known better. Danny thought to himself as he turned to see the tall form of Das Baxter. He was tall, with a blonde crew-cut hairstyle, arrogance that pretty much ran all over him, not to mention he was built like the football player he was. He was all in all your cliché and typical jock type, but it worked for him. What do you want, Dash? Danny groaned, although he was pretty much knew what it was, to make his life suck, basically. Oh, the usual. I need some cash, so come for some cash or it's locker 7 time. He grinned at the two of them, cracking his knuckles. Both Tucker and Danny slumped their shoulders, knowing that even if they gave him their money, being locked up in his locker was going to happen anyway. You know what? I used up my cash for lunch, so just do your worst, Danny said back. Suit yourself! Das easily picked up both boys and stuffed them in Danny's locker as he closed the door. Inside of it, both boys were a tight fit. It was hard to move in there. Danny also had to wait to be sure no one was around to ghost him or Tucker out of it. Outside of it, Samson was very tempted to stick out her leg and tripped Das as he walked past, grinning. I really hate that guy. She muttered, Tell me about it. Sam turned to see a girl her own age, dark skin and a yellow shirt and skirt. It was Valerie Gray, a part of the popular crowd, although she had been humbled by the experience she went through. After her father lost his job, she had known what it was like not to live the life of luxury and being a social outcast. But with her father back on top, so was she at the school. Though, she never forgot the lesson she had learned. She was one of the few people that actually gave Sam, Danny, and even Tucker the time of day, and even liked them, although Sam was a little wary of her, mainly for how she kept attacking Danny Phantom with her ghost hunting equipment, and there were more personal reasons for Sam as well. Honestly, I just don't know how Dash keeps getting away with this kind of thing. Val went to Danny's locker and tried accommodation. She opened it and stepped to the side as the boys fell out onto the ground. Hey, thanks, Val. Danny smiled as he rode up. Val smiled as tried. Hey, it was nothing. Nothing? I think if I wasn't there anymore, my spine would be permanently rearranged. Tucker cracked his back as he straightened it out. He really hated Casper High sometimes. Sure, there were all good girls, but the constant bullying kind of got old really fast. Wait, how did you know Danny's locker combination? Sam asked Val, since she only thought herself and Tucker knew it. Oh, well, the high star gave it back to her back when, well, you know. Danny blushed a bit. Back when we dated. Val finished for him. She had to admit she kind of missed that time now and then. Danny was really nice and sweet guy who really treated her well. But she had her own thing to do. Hunting ghosts was dangerous and he could get hurt around her. But it had been nice if brief. Hey, Danny, have you heard about the Ghostbusters actually being in our town? Yeah, they kind of stopped by my place to talk to my parents. Really? Val asked silently. Ever since he got into the ghost hunting, she looked up to other groups. To her, the Ghostbusters were the best of the best. She even joined up with the official online fan site. Ghostbusters. Amityville Division. Oh, you've got to tell me all about them. Is Egon really as smart as he seems? Oh, you've got to tell me if you saw the Ecto-1 or any of their equipment. She dragged Danny off, wanting to hear all about his meeting with her group that she considered her idols. Danny really didn't know how to say no to her, as she gave his friends a look to say he was sorry about this, but it was beyond his control. Sam, however, didn't like it. Okay, how can she just take Danny away like that, and the fact that we have to meet those guys later just take off? What does he have to give out his locker combination to her? Not like I care, though. But why? Tucker looked at her calmly. Boy, you really do get jealous at times, you know that? Jealous? Sam went to Tucker and struck her. Why would I be jealous? Because you have a huge crush on Danny for the longest time, but doesn't want to admit it? Sam gave him a look that could go call look. Then he shoved him right back in his locker and closed it up. Tucker was one back into a small dark space, realizing he's really either ready to phrase that or just kept his mouth shut. Okay, I'm sorry. You don't have a crush on Danny. Can you just let me out of here now, Sam? Waiting for an answer, but all he got was silence. Sam? Oh, hey, Tucker. Is it Tuesday already? Oh, hey there. Yeah, it is. Man, 3 in a row. I think Gas is faking his own record. 4. Definitely 4. That's it. After this is over, after today is over, I am so moving to Crystal Prep. Outside Casper High. Morbius materialized soon outside the building with a small group of minions. He winced at the sunlight. How he hated the light. He was a creature of darkness, and the light gave him a stinging sensation. But he would make do when he would be strong enough. He had plans to plunge the world. Uh-oh. Don't say the next line. You don't know who you'll bring out back into a forever night. On the night so lost forever! He was coldly about him at this new world that came up in his passing. It was a bit too much order and symmetry for him, although in the stench in the air from the balloons he did like. That he would keep when his new world would rise up once more, and the name Morbius was talked in fear. He stretched out his senses and found the boy. He was near Morbius could sense the power in the boy, and it was exactly as he had hoped. He couldn't attack Vlad directly just yet, but that fool had no idea of the plans Morbius had set in motion. He was very old and he knew patience. He also knew vengeance as well, and Vlad would face that once soon enough. But first, he needed the boy. Not just to feed him, but he needed the boy's powers. They would feed him to a new level, and it would be one that might allow him to finally be rid of the accursed collar around his neck. Go, find the boy, fight him, and tire him out for me to feed. He coldly commanded his minions. He would need to conserve his strength in the sunlight. Val was talking Danny's ear off about the Ghostbusters. So he asked him everything, and he did his best to answer them. Even as he asked if she could meet him. He honestly wasn't sure how to handle that. He said he had to run by them to see how busy they were. Val accepted that, which Danny was thankful for. He was just about to answer another question of hers when out of his mouth came a small puff of light frost. His ghost sense had gone off, which means there was a ghost in the area. Great. Thankfully he missed it, but what kind of ghost is attacking school this week? Then a few screams could be heard as the set double doors opened up and people come running out screaming. 3 ghosts that looked like seeing better days came out of the doorway, looking around and focused on Danny. Oh great, more than one, it looks like I'm the target. What is it with me and people singling me out in high school? Val saw the ghost and knew she had to get somewhere to change. Her gear was in her backpack. But first, she had to make sure Danny was safely out of the way. Quick, Danny, get out of here! She pulled on his arm, leading him away until she spotted a janitor's closet and stuffed it in there. Stay here until it's safe! Danny had to admit how he was stuffed into small areas twice in under an hour. But at least this space was a lot larger. It also gave him the opportunity to turn himself into Danny Phantom. He quickly turned invisible as he faced through the door to ensure no one saw him. He saw the hallways clear, so he turned back to normal. Shh! Okay, I don't know who you are, but you guys are going. But I'm so going to enjoy kicking your dead butts, he said to the 3 ghosts. Oddly, they just looked at him with near-blank expressions and beady black eyes. Get him! One of them moaned out as the 3 launched themselves at Danny. Danny brought out his hands and fired airsy beams from his hands, hitting 2 of the ghosts, but the 3rd managed to dodge and hit him in the chest. Danny flew back and stomped him in self-air. If that's all you guys got, you're in major trouble. Oddly, Danny wondering why that didn't hurt as much. Normally a ghost hits harder, not that he was complaining. But there's something odd about these ghosts. They moved a bit slugishly and weren't as talkative as other ghosts seemed to be. Well, he figured to put that away for later. First, he had to get rid of these ghosts. Danny hovered, and then flew at the 3 of them. He managed to tag on them all as they flew into the cafeteria. Thankfully, it wasn't mealtime, and no one was there. Oh, thank God for that. Who knows what the lunch lady would have done. Quickly, he blasted one of them into the wall, and tried to avoid to blow another, and countered with a kick to the chest. The last one grabbed him, but he flew up into the ceiling, making sure the crows crashed into it. He floated down looking at the 3 ghosts. Oh man, if you guys are going to make this so easy, I might as well tie my hands behind my back. I mean, how do you guys expect to beat me? Then he noticed that from the walls, more ghosts materialized through solid objects. He looked around, seeing that there were now 10 more of the ghosts. Okay, yeah, that pretty much will do it, Danny said, knowing he was into a real fight now. Actor 1 was heading towards the school. The Ghostbusters had spent the day looking over the town, taking readings to show any sign of more ghost activity, but they called it quits an hour ago. Plus, Egon was back in most of the time, writing down all the results he'd taken from Danny. The man was totally focused on that, since this was the first case study of any such a thing. There had been anything like this, and the fact that there were at least 3 people out there with this condition. Danny told him about Danny, and how she was supposedly still out there, although he hadn't seen her in a long time. Well, depending on the season, she might either be trying to travel alone, or she might be conserving her ghost powers. Now they were on their way to meet up with Danny at school. Since his parents were ghost hunters, it wouldn't seem weird for them to just show up at a meeting. So, how are we going to deal with this? Peter asked, as he was leaning back in the seat arms behind his head. We were called in to deal with the ghost threat in this town, but from what the kids said, this is going to be simple. Yeah, first some ghosts find their way to here, usually after Danny, Ray said, looking out the window. Then we got the other guy. What's his name? Vlad something, I think. Peter shrugged. Yeah, well, then we got him and his portal sending ghosts out here. If we close both portals, they'll just get rebuilt and then it starts over again, Ray sighed, thinking about a solution. Besides, giving them an endo-containment unit to hold the ghosts, the only other way would be to move operations here. Could be worse places to live, Peter said. I mean, nice clean air, good schools, no source of work. It's not like we'd be living in Jersey or something. He joked. Oh, come on, man. We just couldn't leave New York. That place would fall apart to the separate asshole within a tops, Winston said to him as he was driving. They all knew Pierre was joking, since it was something he did a lot. But they had to put him down sometimes, or he just kept going and going. Something caught Winston's eyes as he squinted into the distance. Hey, guys! Is there something going on in that school down the street? Everyone sat up, looked out front. Even Egon tore himself away from the book. He pulled out a PKA mirror, and the guard's reading gave off. Nearly reached the limit of what the device could read. He looked up at the school ahead. I think we got trouble. Winston, time to hit that siren and make our usual entrance. Pierre smiled. Ear, ear, ear. The Ecto-1 took on new speed as the sirens blared to race towards the school. You could see that there were a lot of people running out of the building as they came to a screeching tires. As they got out, Ray pulled over the back of the car and pulled out a conveyor belt that held the proton packs. Pierre raised his hand. Hey, no fear. After Ghostbusters are here. Anyone see a ghost? It's mainly ignored as the people at school pretty much had a system. Ghosts show up, and they get well out of the way, and come back when it's all clear. It happened so often that the school was now running both fire drills and ghost drills. Pierre had to get some people to talk, but they just ran by, wanting to get further away from the school. In some cases, a few students like to use this as an excuse to ditch school for the rest of the day. Luckily, at least two familiar faces were running towards them. Sam and Tucker heard the screams and knew all too well what was going on. They were looking for Danny when they heard the sirens and had seen Ecto-1 pull into the school. They ran towards them, panting. Oh man, I'm glad you guys are here. Danny's still inside, fighting whatever ghost is attacking, Tucker panted out. Sam was in better shape, so she wasn't as tired. Thank God she's not hurt. Yeah, we tried to find Danny, but so far no luck. He must have been on the other side of the school or something since we weren't together when people started screaming about ghosts. Ghostbusters put on their equipment as Egon pulled out the PKE meter to get a better reading since he was closer. He started to sweep it over to school to see if he could locate Danny or the ghosts. He could read Danny's signature as he had a better understanding to make it out, but there were a lot of other signals. They weren't that powerful, but with the numbers he could see, it could be trouble. Then he picked up something else. There was one more powerful signal, but it wasn't with Danny and the others. It was close wherever it was, and it had a pretty strong reading as well. Sam looked at the device over his shoulder, trying to figure it out. Well, did you find him? Yes. He seems to be fighting at least a dozen low-power ghosts somewhere in the east section of the building. A dozen? Sam was shocked by the number. Usually they hit Danny one-on-one. Sure, this was a few times he fought multiple ghosts, but mainly he was used fighting just one ghost, and never did have to fight out so many ghosts at one time. Man, I can't remember the last time we had that many ghosts attacking the same place at once, Tucker said. Well, unless you count the Pariah Dark incident. Yeah, we usually get major haunting with that many. Plus, it makes for a very long and rough day. Pierre remarked. He could already feel the angst that he would get from this one. Well, come on! Danny could use our help! Sam said, almost starting off on a run when Danny flew out of the wall. He had taken a major hit and phased through to avoid the wall, but he turned stall when he hit the ground. He groaned as slowly got up. Pierre looked at the young goth. Good call. Then the ghosts that had been attacking Dan found moved to the walls as they came floating after them. Ghostbusters, however, felt it was time to step into this fight as they pulled the long stick-like weapons from behind their backs and flicked on their devices. The familiar hum was heard as they powered up. Hey, there aren't you boys late for class. You know you had to be sent to detention for this. Yeah, but so what we think of bullies at school. Ray spoke as he fired one of the ghosts. The beam raced down and caught the ghost as he cried out, unable to move or get out of the beam as it wrapped around it. The others, although somewhat mindless, weren't totally stupid as they split up to avoid the new threat. Egon and Pierre caught two more of the ghosts as they did this. Dang, you think we can hold them off while we trap these ones? Winston asked as he pulled out the small square device used to counter ghosts. No problem! Danny smiled as he flew up and started to fight the ghosts in the air. He fired off his anti-attacks and then dodged to counter the ghosts. They weren't overwhelming him this time, and he looked to see the Ghostbusters had captured three of the ghosts and were starting the others. Well, this is definitely cool. Man, with these guys here as backup, this is gonna be easy. Guys, I just want to all of you to take the moment to appreciate that Danny Phantom is flying in the air, fighting ghosts, while the Ghostbusters are standing back to back to back to back, firing their proton packs, shooting down ghosts, all the while using that ecto trap. Words can't begin to tell you how awesome this looks. This is about as awesome as Superman and Goku standing back to back and firing blasts at bad guys. This is just. Oh. Okay, I'm good. My geeking out's over. Dan was hit hard by an energy beam. He fell to the ground hard. He managed to roll to his back, wondering what hit him, when he saw the familiar red techno suit and the flying surfboard device. It was Val and her ghost hunting equipment. I got you now, Danny Phantom, she said a bit coldly at him. She had a lot of things against this ghost. He exposed her to her father, caused her many embarrassing moments at times when she thought this ghost had nothing better to do than make her life hell. Oh, great. I forgot about her. Danny groaned. He had been so busy with the ghost he forgot Val had done earlier, so he was mostly gone for her equipment. Now things were looking not so good anymore, as he was number one on her personal hit list. Some days I just can't catch a break, Danny muttered to himself. Chapter 7, Schoolyard Fight. People, I think we all need to just sit back, relax, and enjoy the moment. Now I need a TV Flash crossover where Barry Allen and Equestria Girls Rainbow Dash fight a Speed Force powered lightning dust and a Reverse Flash. I need that story to happen. Danny looked up as Val flew in its direction, fired her weapons designed to fight ghosts. After the upgrade to her equipment from a certain ghost, she was even more troubled than she normally was. Danny rolled out of the way as the ground broke up beneath him. He got to his knees as he was coming back his way in arcs. I don't suppose you believe me if I said I'm not the bad guy in this? Not the bad guy, she mocked as he flew in closer. After all the things you've done, especially to me, do you honestly think I would fall for something like that? Yeah, I guess not. He sighed to himself, knowing that he was partially to blame for how she saw him. There were a few things that he knew she was wrong about, but a few she might not be too far off from. Like that time he unmasked her in front of her father. Although he did do it to keep her out of trouble, she still got majorly punished because of it. Val fired her weapons again, failing to hit Danny Phantom. She was getting frustrated how she kept avoiding her attacks. At least she didn't have to worry about the other ghosts. The Ghostbusters seemed to be taking care of them easily. Once he was finished with Phantom, she would help them taking out the remainders. Okay, Ghost Boy, time to get what's coming to you, Val said silently to herself, and her helmet HUD tracking him, as it was linked up to her weapon systems. She had a lock, fired again, but the ghost was always quick and managed to dodge it again. She tried for another blast, but he phased through the school. Val looked around, knowing he was going to pop up again, as he'd seen him do many times. He go through a solid object, and he would come out as a point from a new angle. And just like that, that's what he did. This time she was ready for him. Danny caught one of the energy beams to his chest. He gave out a small grunt of pain as he slammed to the ground. Had to dodge a couple of ghosts and chose that moment to attack him as well. He really couldn't get a break, it seemed, as he now had to deal with Val and the ghosts. Meanwhile, the Ghostbusters were busy trapping other ghosts, and they were making some headway. They were used to this kind of fight, and working together so long, they would fight as a team, almost without words at times. They would cover each other or help each other. Sam was seeing Val and Danny fight with all the ghosts. He would need a little more help. So he rushed over to Dr. Egon Spengler. Dr. Spengler, you gotta help Danny! The ghosts he can handle, but with Val there, things are a much bit for him at the moment, and Tucker and myself don't have any ghost gear on us. Egon took a quick look over his shoulder at the strange person in the red suit and technology. He had to admit for a moment he looked at the technology with interest, but set that aside for later. Who is that? Long story short, that's Val, a girl from our school, and she really doesn't like ghosts, especially Danny, which is a very long story. Okay then, we'll deal with her as best we can. Egon continued to fight out the ghosts. As he moved in to fill in the others, as Sam and Tucker did the same. By now, most of the ghosts had been captured, but they were still coming at them, with no signs of fear for their own safety. In fact, they acted like mindless minions, which is of course what they were. They just didn't know it yet. Guys, I just realized what apt comparison this is. This is the equivalent of the Teen Titans cartoon, the good one, where the Titans are having problems with a bad guy, and that is when the animated series Justice League comes in and helps them. That's what this is. Or for another comparison, this is Superman handling a bunch of bad guys in front of Static. This is also what I hope will not happen when Superman shows up in the Supergirl series. Val meanwhile, was so focused on Danny, so he hadn't noticed much of anything else for going on. For the longest time, the Ghost Boy had caused her a lot of grief, so he was close to finally finishing this. So he fired again, trying to hit Danny, missing each time, but he also didn't notice where her beams were firing. So he hit the school, the ground, a parts car, or a teacher. Grace of wrath! I can't believe it again! I just made the last payment! Then a wild shot nearly hit one of the Ghostbusters. Pierre in particular.
Whoa, okay. Ghosts and demons trying to kill me, that's part of the job. But there's no way I'm going out thanks to some little Miss Ghostbuster from 2099.
Pierre said and took careful aim. Years of practice with ghosts that flew erratic faces came into play, and Val was an easier shot than some of those had been. He held his breath and fired. The air stream came down. It clicked one of the engines on Val's hover sled. That moment is awesome. Val nearly lost her balance, but got it back as she landed her vehicle. She looked at the Ghostbuster, and although her mask hid her face, the expression on it was like she had just been slapped. She couldn't believe that one of her idols at ghost hunting had actually saw her. What are you doing?
Hey, you nearly fried me in the back there, kid.
He said sternly, and Val hadn't known that. He had shot one of the Ghostbusters. She felt like crawling under a rock. Here she was with the best of the best, and nearly shot one of them.
Kid, you really need to be more careful. I mean, you can't just start blasting away. Trust me, we've known from experience.
Pierre cast Ray a quick glance. That time he fried the mayor's wife. Thankfully it hadn't been fatal. It had been one of their less than good moments. I'm sorry, I was just trying to get that ghost, Val explained.
Why are you doing this anyway?
Winston asked as Ray was finishing up the last of the ghosts, having got a new trap. Well, they're dangerous and someone has to stop them.
Yeah, well, I hate to tell you this, but the ghost kid was with us on this case,
Pierre told her.
So try not to fry him, will you?
Val had been shocked before, but she thought she was heard wrong. Our heroes were working with the ghost child? After everything they had done, they weren't going to capture him? Are you guys insane? He's a ghost and a menace.
Not all ghosts are malevolent, Egon told her. In fact, I came across a few that were actually helpful or good. True, the majority seem to be evil, but some are just out to cause mischief. There are others that want to be just left alone. I'm telling you now that you've got this ghost all wrong.
How can you even say something like that? Val yelled at him.
We talked to him. Have you ever done that?
Egon asked point blank, and Val stopped. Truth was, she really hadn't. Sure, they say some words and stuff, but usually she just tried to ignore what he said. Although she still didn't believe that Danny Phantom was a good guy. There was just too much that she had seen to just suddenly think any differently. But there was this nagging feeling that these men had thought that maybe there could be a little room. Maybe she had been wrong about him. But then again, that was taking a slim chance. It wasn't one she was ready to take for a moment. Danny was taking a breather as the Ghostbusters were trying to convince Val he was on the good guy's side. Then he saw a shadow forming behind him as a cold presence suddenly felt. He twisted around quickly and froze for a moment, looking at the black-robed figure that was staring at him with cold, blackened eyes. He was in a black robe with a few red highlights in certain sections. The mouth covered in little skin that was showing was a dull gray color.
So, You're the young half-ghost I heard about. I am Morbius, young one, and I am here for you.
The grave-like voice was chilling, but Danny had faced evil before, although he was getting a major bad fat from this one. Oh yeah? Well, come and get this then, bro boy! Danny fired his ecto energy powers at him, but the ghost just stood there, took it in the face, like he was feeding on it.
Ah, splendid. You're powerful. I have never felt powerful like this before. I said joy
Feasting upon it. He laughed at his lung forward and took a swipe at Danny. His long, bony hands were more powerful than they looked. He had long, sharp nails on them. Mario's hand glowed a dark color as he slashed at Danny across the chest. Danny cried out in pain, feeling the blows he felt to his back. His chest felt like it was fire, and unfrozen at the same time his head was swimming. He didn't feel the ground as he hit it. His vision was also dazed as he tried to focus. He groaned, trying to get it together again. But it was hard. He felt weak at the moment, like all the energy in his body had just left him. Then he managed to focus a bit more, and the form of Morbius loomed over him. He couldn't tell if the ghost was saying something, or that only the dark figure was reaching down with his skeletal-like hand. Then he reared back in pain as four yellow, curving beams of energy shot out. Morbius looked over at the mortal humans and their weapons. His body was in pain from the devices he could hardly move. He called up all his power to try to stave off the effects, but he wasn't powerful enough. These men had a hold over him, at least for a moment.
Alright, you, the reject from Lord of the Rings.
Peter says the team poured on the power, slowly moved forward.
Time for you to learn that you mess with a kid, you mess with us.
Anyone got a trap handy? Ray asked him. He already used his own trap, which was also on the ground since he hadn't had a chance to pick it up.
Yeah, man, I got it covered.
Winston reached to his side and threw out the trap. Egon, however, was looking at the ghost and noticed something odd about the streams of energy that were forming for it. There was an effect, but the ghost was fighting it. Slowly, it was starting to move more and more. Most ghosts wouldn't be able to do that. He took a chance and turned off his proton pack and took out the EKG meter to get a quick scan. He frowned at what he saw and noticed an energy spike.
Uh-oh. Guys, looks like he's about to.
His words died off as Morbius had been drawing the spirit energy he had and unleashed it in a giant wave. A shockwave washed over everyone in the area with blinding darkness. There were cries as a giant force slammed into them, like the wind, but with more substance. By the time the darkness lifted, everyone was on the ground, dazed.
Oh, okay. That hurt.
Peter moaned as he was slowly trying to get up. His body felt like it had been hit by a truck.
Anyone else feel like they were dead?
Oh yeah, for at least a week. Now, Ray fluttered as he tried to sit up and look around. There was a giant black mark on the ground where the road forest had been, but nowhere in sight. You could see the girl Val still out there cold, as were Sam and Tucker nearby. Both had been close enough to the blast of energy to get hit by it. I saw Egon trying to find his glasses, and Winston was moving slowly over to his friend to help him out. Ray didn't notice Danny was there, only now in his human form. Obviously, he had been knocked out by the wave of energy as well, and referred to his human form. Well, we got any ideas on who or what that was? Ray asked, rubbing the back of his neck.
No clue. I don't like him. I don't like him at all.
Peter said. Egon finally got his glasses and lift himself back up.
We got bigger problems. I took some readings of him. I'm not sure, but he may be either something that's not exactly a normal ghost. Well, that's just great.
Winston said as he looked over to the kids.
Looks like the kids are coming out of it now.
For a minute, he wondered why they were the first to recover. But then again, the Ghostbusters had been knocked around, hit by more types of energy and all kinds of stuff for so long they had toughened up. Then again, these were just kids after all, as well as he helped to pick up the kids to study themselves. Vlad was in his lab, watching the recording of the fight once again. He was looking at the four humans that got involved in the fight, and he didn't like it. He looked them up and found out that these were the famous Ghostbusters, a group that were experts in the supernatural. They were also a major problem that Vlad didn't need at the moment either. In fact, they were pretty much the last thing he needed. A bunch of do-gooders to help Danny out, and after looking at the tape, the first 3 times came to the conclusion they weren't even after Danny. They were helping him. In fact, there was no question about it. So not only did these men to worry about, but they were allies to Danny as well. It's not fair! Vlad pouted at the screen like an overgrown child.
I go to all the trouble of getting a new minion, and he goes and gets new friends, who are even more annoying than the two he already has.
Vlad shut off the monitors. He had seen enough. He went to the secret door that opened up into his library in the castle. Transforming back into his human form, he sat down in his favorite chair, trying to think of how to deal with these Ghostbusters. More tea, Mr. Placius?
Yes, thank you, Maddie Program.
You're welcome. Maybe he could just buy them off. They were businessmen after all, and they did charge for the work. Maybe all he had to do was pick up a few ghosts and have them haunt some place far away, then call them in. He had to admit it could work, and while they were gone, Morbius would just have Danny to deal with. But if it didn't, he'd be right back to where he was. He got a scowl on his face. Things had been so fine now, and they usually starting to fall apart for him. He hated these moments. There had to be something he could do. Well, whatever the case, when Morbius gets back, I can have him round up even more ghosts and lay siege to the town with an army of ghosts if that's what it takes. He said darkly, then looked around. And where is that decrepit old ghost anyway? He should have been back here by now.
You know, for an Ebenezer, you talk too much,
said a cold and grave-like voice from behind Vlad. The next thing he knew, he was thrown out of his chair by a powerful force. Vlad got up angrily, looking at the dark-robed ghost that dared to attack him.
You old fool! Did you forget my little leash on you?
Well then, it's time for you to learn your place. He pulled out a remote and hit the button, but nothing happened. Vlad looked at the small controller and then pushed the button a few more times.
Oh, come on! Don't tell me the battery's died out on me!
I'm afraid not, Morbius said as he threw the ruined remains of the car device.
Those mortals with the weapons were able to nullify that cursed device you put on me.
Oh, buttersnaps, Vlad said softly, looking at it. He hadn't counted on someone else trying to ruin the device, just the ghost.
Oh yes, and now it's time for my revenge.
The ghost picked up Vlad with his hand hanging him in the air. Ha! Vlad smiled defiantly into the Mac's face.
You can't use your powers on me. I know that you can only affect the dead, and I'm a living, breathing human, so you can't do jack against me!
Morbius paused a moment. Then there was a sound like gravel being grinded, and Vlad figured it out. It was him laughing.
You're only half right. Since you forgot, you're only half human.
Then to Vlad's shock, Morbius's hand reached into his chest. It was a cold death like itself, and he cried out more in shock and pain, although there was pain to it. He felt like Morbius was tearing him apart, and he soon was learned he was right about that. Morbius pulled his hand free, and Vlad's ghost half suddenly pulled out of his body. And to Vlad's horror, Morbius consumed his ghost side. Morbius let him fall to the floor, and Vlad was gasping for air. He also felt less than he had been. He could feel it. It was gone. His ghost powers were all gone.
What did you do to me?
Morbius just laughed out loud as he felt the full power flow into his body.
My, you have such power, Vlad. And now it's all mine. You see, I just took all your ghost powers. I already managed to take on the Ghost Boy's powers, even if he hadn't realized it. It was then I found out if I could take a bit of his, then I could take all of it. Since he's like you, well, you could see the results. It is true, I can't directly harm anyone living, but there are ways around it, like when I used your chair to throw you out of it.
Morbius extended a hand as two decorated swords flew at the wall, and then a stout dust sword impaling Vlad.
But killing you won't be too easy. You made a fool out of me. You sought to change me as your slave. Well, I am no one's slave, mortal. I once ruled a kingdom, and I will again. And why stop there? I will shred this world into eternal darkness with only the dead to rule. And I rule them.
The night shall last forever! You just keep waiting to pop up, don't you, Nightmare Moon? Well, of course. Morbius calmed himself as he looked at Vlad on the floor.
You did dream me, which is the only reason you live. But as punishment, I took from you your greatest treasure. You will no longer know the joys of being a ghost. No longer will you have your powers. Now you must live as a lonely human for the rest of your pathetic life. It is the best punishment I could think of, and a torment that I know I will enjoy, knowing how much you will suffer because of it." With that, Vlad watched as the ghost made a portal and walked through it. The swords fell to the ground, and Vlad was suddenly alone. Although now he felt more alone than ever as the words hung in the air. Lost his ghost half, and for the first time Vlad was truly scared. What would he do now? Lived with his powers for so long he couldn't bear to be without him. He was already raking for the feel of his powers. He sat there for a very long time, trying to will some aspect of his powers, but nothing happened. He grew enraged and started to throw furniture around, and after he was done, he was very tired and his room was a mess. But he didn't feel any better. And although he was feeling something else, the burning hatred for revenge, that was a familiar old friend to him as well. "I swear to you, Morbius, I will not let this go unanswered. I will get you back for this. I just need to think of how to do it," Vlad said, sitting to himself on the floor. It was time for him to think and to plan. Chapter 8. The Face of Evil. "You're the hero of Colodai!" I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. Jack Fenton was searching the halls in what he thought was a tactical manner. But if anyone was looking, he just see some big guy in an orange jumpsuit with strange-looking gear on his back and over his eyes, moving around like an idiot. Spending most of the day, after Jas was released to go to school, but not before a long shower and a lot of tests, had been hunting in that strange ghost. So far, there had been a few trails of that green slime substance they were studying all morning. It seemed to be made of pure ectoplasm, and so far it didn't have any special properties on it other than the fact that it was disgusting. It was hard to wash off of clothing. It also had a bad tendency of making really awesome cartoons really, really sucky. "We would like to apologize. It's not that martial art user hates Slimer in particular. He just hates the fact that Slimer was one of the main reasons why Ghostbusters sucked in the 3rd season." Jack made his way to the home, looking through his new Spectre detector goggles, looking for any sign of the ghost. "Maddie, I'm on the 2nd floor. So far, nothing. How about you?" Maddie Fenton was in the kitchen, or looking over what was left of the inside fridge. It was a pure nightmare in there, and would take hours to clean out. They would have to order it out for tonight. She also had to remember to shop for old food eaten. She touched the communication device in her ear. "So far, nothing, but this ghost has made a mess out of my kitchen." "Don't worry, honey. We'll get that ghastly ghost." Jack reassured her as he rounded a corner. "Well, now then, where would I be if I were a ghost?" He muttered to himself. The ghost Slimer had been looking around the strange house. The place reminded him of the firehouse in a way, so he was kind of at home here. Besides, when the others had left, he knew they would come back to this place, so waiting around they would eventually show up. Plus, he had good food here. He had already found a few of Jack's hiding places for candy bars, and such that Maddie didn't know about. He was flying down the halls, not paying attention to where he was going, when he rounded a corner and straight into Jack Fenton's face. There was a momentary scream from Slimer, and Jack let out a sorrowing cry before his vision was filled with green. The force knocked Jack onto his back, disorienting him for a moment. When he got his senses back, he suddenly found a slimy substance covering him. He took off the goggles and wiped the slime off his face as best he could. "This is by far..." "Don't dust me in any non-sexual way. I mean, I have a feeling these two bang on the hour." Slimer had to find the guys. He thought he caught a glimpse of the Ecto 1 from a window, so they could be in the house or at least near it. But first he had to lose Jack. He quickly tried to think of a place to hide or something when an idea came from him. He turned a corner and slid himself across the floor, covered the entire floor in slime, and went through the door. Jack rounded a corner and slid on the slime as he gave a yell as he slid face first into the wall. He stuck there before he fell back on the floor. "Ouch!" "Okay, he's a tricky one. I can respect that. Now, when I get the ability to move, he's dead. Well, deader." Jack tried to get up from what he felt was the front of his body, crying out in a bed of pain. He could see him impressing himself in the wall. Slimer peeked out of the door, and just had to laugh despite himself. Then there was a high-powered whine and something powering up, and he gulped.
Slimer turned to see a slightly angry-looking Matty Fenton with a very large weapon firing at him. Find that funny ghost? Well, I'll be laughing too. Just hold for still for a second. It'll only hurt for a bit. Slimer screamed as he ducked through the door as Matty fired a large hole in the wooden door. Come on, Jack! He won't get away from us! As he kicked the remains of the door and ran after Slimer.
Oh, those two are so going at it tonight.
Jack couldn't help but stop his grin as he caught up with his wife. It was times like this that reminded him of why he loved that woman so much. It was times like this that reminded him why he loved this line of work as well. He raised his weapon, checking to make sure it wasn't damaged in the impact. Okay, time to show this ghost that you do not mess with the Fettons. Man, I wonder where the Ghostbusters are. They're missing all the fun. Jack just shrugged. Oh well, more for us. Meanwhile, in the basement. Unaware of what was going on upstairs, the Ghostbusters, Danny, and his team were currently trying to plan out what just happened. When he had woken up, Val had taken off, not really saying much. She was too deep in thought, wondering if the Ghostbusters were the heroes she had hoped they had been, or if she was wrong about them. Thankfully, she hadn't seen Danny turn back into human, but she had some concern when she had noticed he had been on the battlefield. Currently, Egon and Ray were trying to look up anything on this Morbius guy, as Danny told him what the ghost called himself. Although Danny was still feeling like he had just ran a marathon, he had his tired feeling that he just couldn't shake. Sam noticed this as Danny was sitting down, looking like he could fall over. She walked over to him as Tucker was busy with his internet searching with the Ghostbusters. She gently sat next to him. Hey, Danny, are you alright? You've been kind of out of it since that guy attacked. Are you sure you're okay? Danny gave a small smile. It was nice having friends. I'm tired. Whatever he did really took a lot out of me. Remind me not to get up close and personal with that creep again, huh? She grinned back at him, seeing that he was fine, other than just tired. You got it. Sam rested a hand on his, and for a moment the two didn't move or say anything. Danny felt her soft skin there, and how warm it was against his hand, and all kinds of thoughts and feelings came back. Lately he had these confusing feelings about Sam. She was his best friend, but he remembered all those times they got pretty close. Then he had thought about all those times he had actually kissed. Okay, so maybe they weren't the most romantic moments like those make-out fake-outs, although he did admit he didn't mind them. For Sam, she didn't notice, but she had left her hand a bit longer than normally would be considered for friendship. She was just as confused about Danny as he was about her. Oh, come on! Will you two just kiss already? No, Trixie, wait until Phantom Planet. I can't wait that long! Trixie's favorite ship isn't getting it on. I know. We all are waiting. Yeah, I mean, come on, listen. Let's just move on. Will you please? Does anybody need me to do it? No, Cadence! On the one hand, he was her best friend, and yet there was this something they had. She would get jealous about things like how he dated Val, or his old obsession with Paulina. At first, she had just gone on with it, but over time, she knew she felt more protective of Danny. Then Tucker's words of her crushing on him came back into her mind. She didn't want to admit it, merely due to the fact that she didn't want to spoil or even end the friendship they had because of a nasty breakup. But still, there was a small part of her that wished to come out and just say what she felt. The two of them shared a small moment where their eyes met, and a slight blush fell into their faces. But just like always, when they had a moment like this, and before things could develop. Got it! Ray said, sprinting up a sheet from a computer station. He had linked up with a database that kept online, as Egon reading over the data. This shout pulled the two teams out of their moment, as they looked over at the Ghostbusters. Guys, I think we found something! The two of them, they gathered together, as Egon was reading over the information.
We couldn't find much of anything on the internet, but we asked to convert our data with this man over back at Gravity Falls called Grunkle Stan. He had a book on Morbius that we actually found useful.
Oi, oi, oi! I thought we agreed that the Ghostbusters and Gravity Falls crossover we were going to do was next week! I thought next week we were doing the Ghostbusters and Buffy crossover. I figured I was fully free to make a Gravity Falls and Ghostbusters gag. No! Don't do that again! Right. I promise. I won't. Next joke I'll do won't be a Ghostbusters and Gravity Falls joke.
While looking up in our database in the Tobin Spirit Guide, I think we found some information on this Morbius fellow. Luckily, John Winchester had some information in his journal that helped us alongside a certain man back at Sunnydale.
Any more references? Hellboy, no! Oh, I hate your stinking guts. Torben's Spirit Guide? Tucker asked the scientist. Isn't that the book you used for your research?
One of them, yes.
Egon said, and explained how they used a few others, but that one contained a large catalog of spirits and spiritual entities and other things of the supernatural that were powerful or important to note.
Seems here that our Morbius ghost isn't your typical ghost.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm still feeling lightheaded. Dane walked over to him, crossing his arms. He had no idea, but there was something odd about this ghost. He had this presence about him and does seem different. He couldn't put his finger on it. It was just a gut feeling is all.
So, quit holding out on us, Egon, you mad scientist you. Tell us the story.
Peter said. Egon fixed his glasses and read off what he had down. Back in the 13th century, there was an alchemist named Morbius. He had been famous for his skills and had amazing abilities to create potions and elixirs that were said to promote great health and healing. He was a good man back then, and then one day he fell in love with a beautiful woman. The two of them soon became close and fell in love. He married her, and he had a happy life, that is until one day she became sick. At first, nothing was thought of it, but she became weaker and weaker over time. Morbius soon tried to help her, but all his knowledge and couldn't tell what was wrong with her. He tried day and night, nearly working himself to death trying to find a cure for her. But in the end, he failed, and she died, but he refused to give up. He kept her body preserved, and he tried his alchemy to bring her back, but his skills weren't enough. It was then that he decided to turn to necromancy, the magic of death. He worked to study the dark and forbidden arts, and soon people started to fear him. He locked himself away, and there would be open graves and missing bodies some days, as Morbius needed material for his unholy experiments. Soon, his obsession with life and death took hold of him. He started to also dwell into the supernatural. Soon, he started to try and call upon demonic forces to raise his loved one from death's grasp. By then, he was also trying to master life and death, because it had taken him years, and he wasn't a young man anymore. He knew that if he brought her back, she could just die again. So he searched to be able to live beyond death itself. Then one night, he managed to work a true working summoning. He had called forth a demon that would give him the power over death. But there was a price. The price was the souls of 100 people for his power. Morbius agreed. By then he had cared nothing save his power and his love. Nothing else mattered to him. With that, he started on his course. He started to use his talents to prey on the townspeople. One by one, they started to vanish. By the end of 6 months, he had reached his goal, and the demon gave him his wish. Soon, he took the souls that Morbius had collected and granted him the knowledge and powers he wanted. With that, Morbius began his final step. He had one last soul to flee from his flesh, his own. In a ritual, he sacrificed himself, and when he died, he took over his body and burst with it in a way to become a wraith. A specter then haunted his own decaying body, and with his new powers started to call upon the dead. He raised an army of the dead and started to rule over the land. He gained the power and managed to raise his love as well, and for a time he was the dark ruler of the land of the dead. But then a group of heroes banded together, and with powerful spells managed to seal Morbius up into a land of spirits never to be returned. Egon finished what he had, and everyone took in there was a moment of silence by what they had learned. Sam was the first to speak out. Well, it's kind of tragic, I mean. To do all that to just get her back, and what to have had happen to him just to twist him up like that. She wasn't even sure she could guess at it. Sure, she was a goth and liked to think she knew what darkness was, but after seeing real evil since the portal opened up, so you knew that total darkness was a lot scarier. But to have yourself twisted up all inside after taking a journey like that was just unimaginable.
Man, the dude has issues about not letting go, that's for sure.
Once inside, running a hand through his sore hair.
So we know who he is and who he was. What about his abilities? According to the research, he has the power over all that is dead. Not sure what that totally entails, but from the looks of those ghosts, I say he was controlling them.
Yeah, they have a serious salty vibe to them, Tucker agreed. We've got another problem, too. Ray pulled up his trap. We only got 3 more spare traps on us. Well, we got the thermos here, so we can use those. Danny offered. There was a lot of banging and commotion from upstairs suddenly. What the heck was that all about?
Hey, guys, when was the last time we saw Slimer?
Peter asked, looking around. Suddenly, everyone looked at each other. And when more commotion came from upstairs, they suddenly had a very good idea what was going on.
Oh, man.
We better hurry before my parents do something to your ghost friend. A large bang was heard. Boom! Or they did the boss house. Ghost Zone, Morbius' temple. Morbius walked through the empty temple, his feet making loud, echoing sounds off the stone. He had returned to this place because he needed a place to operate it from. Already, the halls were filling up with his thralls as they started to repair the old temple to its former glory. He moved like water through the large halls. Eerie glows of ghostly fire lit the rooms. Morbius walked with purpose, though he was going to the one chamber that housed the only thing that truly mattered to him in both life and death. He found his way to a large door, and on it there was a circle with a painting on it. It was the only thing in this place that wasn't dark and depressing. It showed a beautiful woman in a field of flowers, her long brown hair flowing in an unseen wind. There was a beauty about her that was almost too perfect to be true. The smile she had was captivating. He stared at that image, remembering the day when he had still been alive. Okay, obviously I've been using the wrong voice. I should have been going for the Morbius from Spider-Man, the animated series. I should have been using Mr. Freeze! Oh well, main chapter's in. Not gonna stop now. It had been so long ago, but those memories of his love were fresh even in death. Their love would be a love that would last beyond death. He had seen to it. He gave of his life, his soul, his humanity to that single cause, and he didn't regret any of it. Regret would have just stopped him in his quest anyway. Nothing would stand in his way. Marius touched the door, and whispered out a word of power, and the door opened up. In it he walked, and with his powers willed the lanterns to glow. The room was filled with flowers, her favorite ones. Actually, all of them preserved by his powers. The room was white, and in the center stood a stone altar. On it lay his love. She looked like she had just been before he last saw her. Perfect, except her skin had a gray tone to it. He managed to preserve her body when she had died, but it had only been after his deal, when he could put her soul into that flesh. She was dressed in dark robes that looked like they were fit for a queen, a stark contrast to the white room. But he had raised her from the dead, she had been by his side. But then those thrice-cursed heroes had stopped him. He had taken away the spell that bonded her soul to the flesh, and he had raced at that moment with uncontrollable loss. To lose her again nearly driven him out of his mind, and his weakness they attacked and stripped him down. He managed to put her here before he had made his last stand and failed, sealed away and torn forever from his love. That had been the worst of it. Not the darkness, not the silence, not the absence, but the absence of his light. The one shining thing in his existence. He placed a hand on the cold skin. He had no idea where her spirit was, not after all this time. The ghost zone was large, and not all souls go to the ghost zone anyway. With her body, he could call her spirit back to it, and they would be together again.
Soon, my love, I will release you from death. I have mastered all that is dead, and I have come too far to be stopped now. Even now, I am flowing with new power, and soon I will have what I need to bring you back, and to bring this temple back into the world of the living. My army grows, and then I will give you the kingdom you deserve, my princess. You will deserve to have all kneel at your feet, and I will be there by your side always, just like I promised you.
He stood up, taking in the moment. When it was past, he had a lot of work to do, and that Danny boy would be the key to restoring all that he had. Chapter 9. meaning Slimer. In the Fenton home, things weren't quite as Jack and Maddie continued to chase Slimer around their home. The green ghost was screaming as he fled from room to room, trying to lose them by going through the walls or doors, even the ceiling as well. But every time he thought he was safe, one or both of them would show up. He was sure they were in this house. He just had to find them. Once more, he had evaded a shot from one of the Fens. He didn't check to see which one. He just wanted to find the guys. The Ghostbusters, Danny and his friends were already rushing upstairs to see what that noise was about. So far, they had seen a few holes and scorch marks in the walls, in the floors and ceilings, and Danny knew his parents' handiwork all too well. They were just rounding a corner when a green blob suddenly rushed around it. Danny skidded to a stop and ducked behind it as it flew over his head. If he had been any taller, he would have gotten a face full of Slimer. But unfortunately for Peter, he was taller and been right behind Danny. It was too late to stop as Slimer collided with Peter, sending him crashing to the ground. When Slimer realized who he had flew into, he was delighted to sight Peter, giving him a large hug, which only covered him in more slime.
Oh, gross. He got me again. Why am I always the one that gets slimed by him? Honestly, I would really like to know.
Peter tried getting Slimer off of him, yet as another pair of clothing was now ruined, he could feel the slime oozing down to his shirt. Slimer, what's going on? Ray asked, ignoring Peter as the kids stared at the green ghosts they had been told by the Ghostbusters about Slimer. But seeing him in real life was totally different. Well, he's kind of, Sam whispered to the two, trying to find a nice way to see what she thought of the ghost. Gross? Tucker offered back, seeing Peter rise up trying to wipe off the slime, leaving it on the floor. It was then that Jack and Maddie ran around the corner ready to fire. There it is! Good job on holding his attention while we finish it off! Jack grinned as he tried to level the weapon at Slimer. The ghost screamed and jumped into Peter's shirt, making a huge bolt in it as he suddenly cried bloody murder at Slimer. It's attacking him! Most likely it's some fiendish way trying to take him over! Jack called out, and Danny felt like palming his face. Sometimes his parents could be too much at times. No! Wait! Ray jumped in front of the fence. It's okay! He's with us! What? What do you mean with us? Maddie asked, never even flinching from her aim.
What my friend is trying to say is that this ghost is part of our team.
Egon said slowly, stepping in front of Maddie.
His name is Slimer, and we're sorry for any trouble he may have caused. But trust me, he's totally harmless.
Unless you count his damage to the quality of the series. No, still pissed. Slimer put his head out, nodding very fast. Peter managed to grip his head angrily and take him out of his shirt. Slimer quickly ducked behind Winston, leaving a little bit of his head sticking out. What? That's absurd! Ghosts are harmful and need to be studied and blasted! Jack took aim at Slimer as he screamed and hid behind his friend.
Wait a minute! You can't just blast him!
Winston shouted, not liking the very large weapon pointing in his direction.
Oh, why not? Peter asked him. Just a little blasting? Just a glancing shot, that's all I ask.
Peter! I'm with Peter on this!
And so am I.
Of all the impressions I expected to do on the show, I never expected to bring out Thalos. He got for several Ghostbusters with a glare, and Peter folded his arms, trying not to notice the slime running down his pants. He really hated being slime. He hated it with a passion, and no matter what happened next, he wanted to shower badly. And Slimer got a little sense. Maybe I would teach him a little lesson about sliming others all the time. Although, despite himself, he didn't want the little spud to be vaporized. Well, mostly. He didn't, at least. Dad, Mom, will you just give them a chance to explain? Danny told him, going up to his parents. Look, I know how you guys get around ghosts, but just listen to them. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Danny looked at his parents, who were sharing a look between the two of them, but wasn't sure what they were thinking. In fact, he was kind of hoping they might listen. He knew that from experience with that gauntlet, before he erased everyone's minds, that his parents had accepted him as Danny Phantom. But he wanted to be the one to tell them that. The thing was, he just couldn't bring himself to do it for some reason. But they could accept Slimer, a real ghost, and maybe they would accept Danny Phantom, and it would be a lot easier to let them in on the big secret. Give it until Phantom Planet, Danny. Give it until Phantom Planet. On the other hand, they could just blast Slimer, and then the Ghostbusters would get involved, and things would get ugly at that point. He really hoped that for once, his parents would do the responsible thing. Although, reason wasn't extremely strong in his bloodline, it would seem. 5 minutes, Maddie said to them.
You see, Slimer was our first capture.
Egon went into the story of their first real client as the Ghostbusters at this hotel. They spent over an hour trying to capture Slimer, and after that put him away. When all the ghosts broke out to a man named Walter Peck, aka Dickless. Wait, is this true?
Yeah, it's true. This guy has no dick.
We shut down the containment field. Slimer for some reason stuck around. It was hard at first, but eventually Slimer ended up as their own private ghost. P.S. I love that there's a small reference to the real Ghostbusters by the fact that you have Slimer as a pet. It is so cool, and I feel really awesome seeing that. But I love the Ghostbusters game. It is awesome.
You see, finding a subject that is willing for our scientific research is extremely difficult, but thanks to Slimer, I've made many breakthroughs in the field of paranormal research. Plus, Slimer has helped out on a few occasions against more threatening ghosts and other entities as well.
Are you trying to tell us that this is a good ghost? Jack didn't believe it. All ghosts are destructive, and that's that.
That's not always the case, man.
Listen, said to Jack.
Look, I'm no scientist. I'm just a regular guy that got into this for a paycheck at the start. But I've seen more weird and strange things since then, and I can tell you, not all ghosts are bad. I've seen things that turn you right.
Okay, you're allowed one more Ghostbusters reference, and then I'm bringing out the tip jar.
Sure, there are a lot of bad ones out there, and we've caught our share, but I've also seen good ones. Some are just not violent, or are only out there to cause mischief, like poltergeists. Others have unfinished business here, and they can't leave until they do it. Sometimes it's as simple like saying goodbye to their loved ones, or others who just want to be left alone. Simon here is just a friendly one, and he's not really all that bad if you could just give him a chance.
I'm wasting this. He's looking at me, Ray. He's staring at me, Ray. Peter, what happened?
Oh, I've been slimed.
Wow, this is unbelievable! Okay, that was your last one! Maddie looked around Winston to look at Slimer as he nervously waved at her. This thing ruined my kitchen and ate all our food!
Hey, he does that all the time to us, so don't worry. He eats anything that's not nailed down or on fire.
Now, I tend to beg to differ. I have actually seen Slimer eat a baked Alaska on flames.
Peter muttered, is there a shower I can use? I think the slime is going down to my boots.
Down the hall and to the left. Leave them outside and we'll get them washed. Maddie said without missing a beat, and then looked to the others again. Okay, you say he's harmless, but you do experiment on this ghost? Well, nothing invasive at least, Ray admitted.
Why not? Well, for one thing, it's inhuman no matter what. I'm a doctor and a man of science, and I will not betray the ideals of that.
Egon said seriously.
Far too often men of science have not taken the moral attitudes to their work. Just because they are not alive as us, doesn't mean that they should not be respected as life forms of a kind. What kind of world would it be if men such as us had no morals to guide them? Think of men like that experimented with humans on World War II, or that man who created the first atomic bomb, and how he regretted making it.
Jack and Maddie hadn't thought that. They always thought that they were doing what was right, but they never considered ghosts could be good, or even thought of them as beings. More like insects to be studied to get rid of. I suppose they were to be people of science. There was supposed to be a moral code to go by. After all, people misuse things all the time, especially science.
Well, I don't know.
Jack lowered his weapon, not sure what to do. He looked at his wife for an answer, but she was drawing a blank as well. Well, considering how season 3 came about, blast them! Look, how about you guys just, I don't know, at least get to know Slimer? Danny offered. Yeah, he seems pretty harmless. Sam backed him up, as he had to admit the little green guy seemed to be harmless as the box ghost, only less annoying and more messy. Actually, I prefer the box ghost. If only because I love Rob Paulson. I am the box ghost! How long were you waiting to show up? I had been haunting you for the past few minutes now. I saw all the boxes that were lying around your house when you were moving to the new studio, and I just figured I had to use it. Why don't you get a life? You know, get a girlfriend. I do! Her name is the Lutz Lady, and we are going out this Friday. Question. Yes? How are you going to go on a date if you're trapped in an ecto containment field? I don't know! Swear to Celestia! Well, I guess, but I want that mess cleaned up, Maddie told him, looking at them sternly. I guess we could do that, Winston agreed. The defendants were getting used to Slimer, although they did keep an eye on him, and an itchy trigger finger just in case. Ghostbusters had cleaned out Slimer's mess, of course, and Peter was now freshly clean and hoped to stay that way. By now, they were all in the lab in the basement as they were comparing notes. The Ghostbusters were telling about how they captured and contained the ghosts to prevent them from getting out into the world, although they had a large space to hold them and eventually would run out. They also compared notes on the traps and the Fenton's own ghost trapping device in the Fenton thermos. They were surprised that they worked on virtually the same principle, with only slight differences. Egon and Ray, of course, were doing all the technical stuff, with Jack and Manny and the others deciding to go back upstairs to the living room. Peter flung himself onto a chair, with Winston taking another. Danny, Sam, and Tucker on the couch, and by then, Sam came back from the library doing some homework, being caught up on things. Even though she accepted Slimer more easily, she still didn't want to get too close. After all she had put through, she didn't want to go through all of that again. So then, what do we do now? Tucker asked. I mean, that more of you guys will be back, that's a given.
We'll do what we always do, kid.
Peter stretched out.
We'll call it a pizza, waiting for Tall, Dark, and Hooded to show up, and then we do our thing. Bust him so hard, he'd think he's dead again.
Sam looked at the man, then to Winston. Is he always this confident and cocky?
Nah, usually he's worse.
Winston sat back with a smile. Well, might as well order. I think my parents and your friends will be there for a very long time. Jazz sighed, knowing that with 2 hours to talk shop, it would keep them occupied for days. So, what does anyone want? Veggie for me, Sam said, as the others wanted mixtures of different things.
Better have 5 more extra, though,
Peter ordered her. Trixie, why are you looking at me with that gun? Oh, just waiting for you to make the obvious joke. What obvious joke? I don't know what you're talking about. I was just thinking of happy thoughts. I was not about to make it the world's most obvious joke. Trixie knows you're going to make the world's most obvious joke. I'm not going to make the world's most obvious joke. It will be Sexy Starlight Glimmer. What? Boom! Oh, wow. I guess Peter finally tapped into his Lorenzo music self and decided to play Garfield for a bit. Ah-ha. Have an annoying Trixie at your side? You Sexy Starlight Glimmer. Testo, shut up, the annoying co-host! Why? You're not seriously going to eat all that, are you? Jazz asked the older man, hoping she could remember all the orders correctly, and this was not helping.
It's not for us. It's for the Spud.
Spud?
You mean Slimer.
And maybe 6 for him is enough, at least for a couple of hours. Winston thought over.
Oh, come on! You can't eat that much, can he? Tucker asked, and he looked at the. I'm sorry, my Google Chrome wanted to be annoying. Serious expressions on the two Ghostbusters' faces. It was then he realized that they actually were not joking about it. The thought of anyone eating 6 pizzas was unthinkable, especially given his size. Where does he put it all?
Personally, I think he's either got a black hole in his gut or a dimensional portal that he feeds an entire planet from.
Pierce shrugged. Okay then, I guess I'll order the pizza. Saz sighed and nearly got jumped when Slimer came rushing through the wall, leaving a small trail. Oh, come on! We just cleaned this place! Oops! Slimer muttered, and then tried to clean it up by slipping into the kitchen and come back with paper towels. But they were covered in slime and only ended up making it worse. He got a frustration as he went looking for something else to clean it up.
Hold on, my man. I'll do it.
Winston stepped in, knowing where this was going. He had Slimer tried to clean up his mess before. In the end, though he meant well, he only made a worse mess at times. He didn't want to get upset at Maggie Fenton. Jack wasn't so bad, but that woman was scarier than some of the ghosts he had faced once he was mad. But what Danny said, she was a great shot with those weapons of theirs, too.
And X-nay on the Isape or any Oodfei.
Peter trying to warn them not to mention pizza or food in Slimer's presence. Why not mention something like pizza? Tucker asked. Pizza! Slimer shouted with glee as he started to look all over the place for pizza, and as the others tried to dodge out of the way, or to prevent from getting slimed by accident, and also tried to move log sticks out the runaway ghost's path. Sam had to lift up a vase, and Danny had jumped to catch a photo that Slimer knocked over. Peter sighed and looked at Tucker.
This is why. It's going to take him a couple of minutes for him to settle down now. Jazz, you better get on those orders and ask if they hurry. Trust me, when he gets like this, it's best to feed him before he goes out trying to look for food. That's a lot worse than what you're dealing with now.
Jazz looked at how quickly the little green ghost was rushing about. She didn't know how, but it was moving faster than when her parents had been chasing him around the house. So he went straight to the nearest phone and tried to remember which was the closest pizza place for the fastest delivery. Or else it'd be a very long night for all of them, with such a hyperactive ghost, it left slime trails all over.
Trust me, one time, Slimer went into the sewers. He found some pizza all right. And I had to stop this bow staff wielding turtle with a purple mask from capturing the little guy and doing experiments on him. I also had to calm down this hot-headed red one with a pair of sais, and I got my ear talked off by this one in orange. It was not a happy day.
Is Trixie going to have to make a special jar for Turtles jokes? She sighed and blew out a strand of hair that got loose from her face. Why was it that her life was never normal? Parents that were obsessed with ghosts and a brother that was half ghost. Sometimes she wondered if he was the black sheep for being the most normal one in the family. But oh well, she was part of this crazy ride for better or for worse. Son Kraft's made her wince, and for a split second, she had wished that at least for one day she could definitely use. Meanwhile, in the basement, the Fentons were already showing off many of their advances in technology, as the two other Ghostbusters shared their own. Egon had to admit that the giant dream catcher that he forgot the name of, it's called the Fenton Catcher! It's just a giant dream catcher. It's a giant dream catcher with the word Fenton on it. That makes it awesome. Something that could be useful. In fact, he had an idea. He felt that it might just help them with that energy weapon they had been working on that would strip a powerful being or deity of their power safely. Ray was showing the two Fentons his trap. Well, so far, this little thing has several ghosts that we caught today, although it's kind of full at the moment, and we're too far away for the ecto containment unit. Normally, we just dump them in there, and the trap would be good to go for another round.
Huh. Well, why not just dump them into that portal over there?
Jack offered, as he jerked a thumb to the ghost portal over by the wall. Ray considered it, but with Morpheus on the loose, it looked like a mighty good idea not to let them out, since that portal would lead him right to them. Plus, it would only add more followers to Morpheus anyway. Well, we think that these ghosts came from the area you call the Ghost Zone, and since they didn't come out of this portal, there might be another exit.
So he just put them there they could get back to this realm the same way again.
Huh. You know, I never thought of that.
Jack rubbed his jaw. The fact that he never caught any ghosts, and normally he had planned to do some experiments on them. But if ghosts could get in this world without the portal, then putting them back in wouldn't really solve anything. Although, what he didn't know was that his old friend had his own portal, and it launched many ghost attacks thanks to it, or a certain ghost with power to cross into the land of the living. Now he began to think of the same thing. Well, I can see why you hold them, but how come you never tried to build something like a portable version of the containment unit? Ray was about to answer when he froze in pace. Why hadn't they done that? It seemed so simple, but he had missed that. The few times they had traveled here and there had been times when something like that could have been handy. I wouldn't have had to been too large, just something the Ecto-1 could carry and hold a few more ghosts than a trap could. I guess we just never thought about it. That's a good idea, though. Ray rubbed his head as he tried to think of a design for it.
Hey, why not we help you build one? Jack spoke with a giant grin on his face. We got the resources and the material to do it. It wouldn't be a problem for all. Plus, we could learn to make our own version of it to fit our thermoses as well.
I swear, this fic better end with Danny Pham having an epic battle while the Ghostbusters proceed to fry every single big bad out there, and maybe an appearance by the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Or Zool, motherfucker. Zool. Chapter 10. Flight or Fight. Morbius was in his personal chamber. It was a large triangular room with a dark rock and Etsy's all over the place. It was in the heart of his temple, and he was floating around cross-legged as he was focusing his powers. All the power he had taken was mine. Tuning to himself, he had flowed like a river in his body. It would help to use his power more effectively, as he spoke long forgotten and even forbidden words of power. The chamber started to take on a red glow, and the cliffs inside to the stone turned green. He could feel the ebb of his power flow to the temple as he was bonding with it. When he built this structure, he decided to act as a conduit for his powers. There were glyphs and words of power written all over, and even inside the temple. Its design was also integrated into spellcasting, with how well it was laid out to help with spells. Morbius closed off all other wells of thought as he felt his body becoming the structure, and now he was reaching out. To the land of the living he could feel it. He felt the wall that separated this world and the next. He could almost feel himself touch it with his mind. He tried to form a hole into the human world, but it was hard, and his concentration was wavering with effort. He fell for the strain of overtaxing himself, and grunted as he hit the stone floor. The glow faded, and he breathed heavily as he tried to regain his composure. He had been so close, but he needed more power. He just needed a bit more, and he could pull his temple into the human world once more. After several minutes, he felt his strength pull himself off the ground. He walked to the large stone door, and waved his hand as it opened up. Morbius walked the halls as they were now filled with his mindless minions, doing restoration work. He ignored them all. They were unimportant as he made his way into the chamber where his love lay. He once more opened the doors to the sanctuary with the white room where his love lay. He walked over to her and looked to her pale form. He ran a hug over her flawless face and through her long silky hair. And even though he sold his soul to bring her back, he never gave up his heart that he gave up for her the first day that he met her.
My love, soon we shall be together again.
His voice had actually softened, and his eyes looked less black when he was with her. He had done so much, sacrificed so much to have her back. He couldn't bear to be without her. Every moment without her tore his heart and his spirit. It was like a never-ending torture to see her, to touch her, but still not have her. He laid down and kissed her lips through the cloth and over his face. As he dropped to his knees, he just laid his head on her. He closed his eyes, remembering all the memories he had of his life with her. He had given up so much, and he would do it all again, and even more. He would never be denied, and he would take control of the human world and turn it into a world of the dead. As master of all that is dead, he would be master over even death itself, that cruel being that took his precious wife from him. He would take her back and see to it she would never be taken again, and no one would stop him. Not those so-called Ghostbusters or that boy. He would see to it. Morbius steeled himself as he stood up. Now was not the time to indulge himself. He had much work to do. He would have eternity with her once he had the power to bring her soul back into this body. Soon, my love, we will be together again. Our love is eternal. It will never die, and we will see the end of time itself together. But first I need more power to bring you back, and to take us all into the human world. He crossed her face one last time, as he turned and walked to the door. So far his minions had been hunting down ghosts, and bringing them to him. But maybe it was time to go looking himself. He would go out into the hunts today, and see if there was any way to speed up the process. Then, he would go back into the human world, and finish off that dang Phantom, and take his power for his own. With that boy's powers, he would have all that he needed. He was so close now, he could feel it, but he had to keep his patience. That was how battles were lost, and he had to keep his wits about him. There were others, no doubt, that wouldn't want his return, and that clockwork was mostly among them. The ghost had been part of that group that had banished him, or at least had given those mortals help from behind the scenes. He was sure of it. And knowing him, that ghost would help these new heroes. Well, he had to prepare himself for that. There would be no way he could be caught in the same trap twice already. He was making preparations just in case the worst would befall him. Skulker, the greatest ghost hunter of them all, was now the greatest prey of them all. He was running for his own life more and more as more ghosts were being taken over by Morbius. At first, it had been rumors that Morbius had been let out. And rumors like that caused the few that wanted to be on the safe side flee through the doorways into more safer areas, especially those few ghosts who had been around when Morbius first started up. But he wasn't alone either. He was leading a band of ghosts to try to make an escape. One of those ghosts was a blue-skinned one, in work overalls and a Turk. He was the Box Ghost, with the power to control anything box-shaped. Woohoo! Yes! More Box Ghost jokes. Yeah. All in all, one of the most lamest ghosts in history. The one next to him was a green male ghost in a lab coat, who was kind of scrawny, with a mane of white hair, and a pair of dark glasses that hid his eyes. He was Technus! A ghost with power over anything to do with the technology. He was also kind of long-winded, and liked to hear his own voice as well. Dear Princess Celestia on high, please, oh please, give me a chance to do a Technus voice. The two female ghosts in his bunch, one of them was a green ghost with very long black hair, and a slim, sexy figure wearing a getup that looked like it belonged into an I Dream of Jeannie episode, or from an Arabian's Night's Tale. But again, this was Desiree, a Genie type of ghost that could grant wishes, although those wishes tended to backfire on those that made them, much to her delight. The last member was a pale ghost, with light blue hair made out of flames in a ponytail, and a punk rocker clothing. With her electric guitar was Amber McLean, musical rock ghost. Well, that ghost is my personal favorite. Gee, Twilight, I wonder why. They were all banded together as more and more armies under the thrall of Morbius were hunting down more and more ghosts. Now, they had worked up their way into the food chain to the more powerful ghosts. The Lunch Lady, Johnny 13, and Spectra were already taken. And the ghosts that here did not want to become next on that list of names. They had been on the run for a while now, and every time they stopped for a break, the army of ghosts would eventually find them. By now they were getting tired, and stopped in a cave that was part of a floating mountain in the ghost zone. They all sat down as Skulker looked outside.
Looks like the coast is clear. For the moment, at least.
And what a great hiding spot you got here, too! Tetanus sneered. Hey, lay off of him. At least he's trying. Ember said, almost ready to harm the geeky ghost. If it had been for Skulker, she would have been taken long ago. It didn't hurt that lately she and Skulker kind of had a thing going. So he still thought that he wasn't that great of a hunter as he claimed, but he did have his good points. He treated him well enough and kept him alive and going this long.
Thanks,
Skulker told her. Don't let it get to your head. We're still in trouble here, she told him. Look, we have to get out of the ghost zone. It's the only way! Technos had been trying to think of a way out, but he tried to contact Vlad, but he wasn't answering. The air portals in the human world so far had been guarded. Apparently Morbius didn't want ghosts to escape his sight in this world, and he didn't have the ability to make their own way into the human world. Well, we have to try something soon. Morbius will take over the entire ghost zone, Desiree said. I hear purgatory is nice this time of year, the box ghost offered, getting glare from them all. There were some places even they were not that desperate to go to. I'd rather go to Jersey than purgatory, Desiree said, then muttered, must like there's much of a difference. Skulker was quiet, as he was thinking there weren't many places to hide, and hiding was something he hated. He was a hunter, and being the prey wasn't something he enjoyed. But they were right. He needed to find a safe place, and at least the rest and regroup. There were other places they could go, but some were one way, and others, well, some of the others could places ghosts didn't want to go. The only real place was the human world. But there were two problems. First was how to get there. And the second was still a boy. He was still steaming after his last defeat by the hands of that boy. He wanted to capture him more than ever now. But then there was the fact that Morbius was on the loose. The boy might be the only one who could stop him. He had stopped Pariah dark after all, and there was a good chance the boy could do the same. And maybe with the information on what was going on in the Ghost Zone, he could trade to leave them alone. Skulker looked down into the Ghost Zone as he thought about things. There weren't many free ghosts left that could make their own portals into the human world. And if they couldn't find one, then they would have to force their way into the human world. He felt a hand on his arm and looked down to see Amber there. Wasn't sure how it happened. One day they had gotten together, started to argue, then it turned into a I hate Danny Phantom more because contest. Next thing he knew, they were meeting together regularly, and somehow things just grew. She was loud, and it made him crazy at times, but for some stupid reason, he liked her. Skulker and Ember dating. Is that creepy or gross? Ember had no idea why the big lug was special to her. He boasted a lot about his great skills, but he could lose the remote so easily it was insane. And sometimes he spent more time on his silly weapons than he did with her. For all of his faults, he was a decent enough ghost. What do you think?
Oh, so you're asking for my advice now?
He gave her a grin to show he was kidding. You know, keep acting like that, and I may go looking for a new guy. I wonder if Tetanus is single. She made a mock pose of thinking about it, even though she wouldn't be caught alive with Tetanus.
That better be a joke, or his hide will line my wall,
He growled out. Easy there, almighty hunter. Just wanted to make sure you cared, was all. She went down to the zone and wasn't sure what to do at this point. They needed help, that was sure. But the question was, could they get there in time? Could they even get out into the zone with an ever-growing army out there looking for any free-willed ghosts? Skulker got rigid at that point and was staring at something.
Get everyone ready.
But why? She asked, and then turned to look to see a large dark grouping on the horizon. She rushed back inside as fast as she could. Everyone, they're coming! What? Already? Technic said. They all heard sounds of Skulker's weapons firing, and he rushed out to see the mighty ghost hunter already firing his weapons at the ground. Tetanus, Desiree, and Ember joined in as the box ghost raised his arms to use his power, but looked around and didn't see anything box-like. Whoa! For a moment, he stood his ground, trying to think of something without anything box-shaped, but he was pretty much useless. As for the others, they gave their all as they fought on. Ghost Heresy ripped the sky as they battled their enemies. Tetanus was having a bit more trouble, without much technology to work with. As they started out with this, he brought spare things that could help him out. Ember whipped her flame hair at several ghosts as he finished off a few with the power of her guitar. Desiree was so pushed over herself, even though she couldn't use her main ghost powers. That didn't mean she was defenseless. Together, they kept taking on more and more of the ghosts that were under Morbius's control. But for every one they took down, it only seemed like 2 or 3 would take their place. Even though the ghost slaves were not as tough as they had seen after their draining, the sheer number of them were dragging them down. As they were getting set horn, Ember and Skulker were separated from the others as they fought back to back. Okay, any ideas to get us out of this? Where are the others? Ember asked as she let loose a powerful chord of her instrument.
Honestly, I have no idea. We can only fight our way through. As for the others, I can't see them!
Skulker fired his weapons, but was starting to run a little low on ammo for a few of them. He kicked one ghost away, pulled up a gun, and fired another point blank at another. He noticed that one of the ghosts looked like Walker. In fact, it was. He hit one ghost away and pulled up a gun and fired point blank at another. He noticed that one of the ghosts looked like Walker. In fact, it was. Skulker never liked a man. The man was too strict, and the fact that he tried to put him in jail a few times in the past for some of his allegedly illegal hunts. He took great satisfaction when he punched him in the mouth, sending him flying back. That hat of his flew off his head.
Well, at least today is a total loss. I've been waiting to do that for years.
The scream caught his attention, and when he looked to see Ember in trouble, as Desiree was now holding Ember from behind. Desiree, get a grip! Ember cried at her, as he managed to fling the other female ghost aside. What is your... Oh no. She looked at the other ghost and saw that she was thinner, a bit paler, and eyes all dark. No, that means... She knew what it meant. She could feel the cold presence behind her, and turned to see the face of Morbius not far from her. Elmer felt her legs go. If she had not been flying, it would have dropped to the floor if there had been one.
I am so glad that I decided to lead this group personally,
Morbius said behind his cloth mouth.
Your little group has been avoiding my minions for some time now. Well, time to put an end to that.
He raced out towards her. For a moment she paused, not sure what to do. Just when his hand was about to clasp around her throat, Skulker came in and slammed into Morbius.
Don't you dare touch her! Ember, run! I'll hold him off. Just get away!
What? I can't leave you!
Just do it, woman!
He cried out at her as he started his battle with Morbius. Skulker knew he didn't stand a chance, but he was tired of running. He was a hunter. It was time for his prey to become a predator. Besides, it would give Ember a chance to escape, as the focus was on him. He lost himself at Morbius, ready to battle him with all his might. Morbius just stood there, gave a soft laugh, seemed to inhale, and a large rotating wail was heard. Something very familiar to Skulker. Speaking of which, does anybody want Evil Danny to show up in this fic? I can't be the only one! He cried out as a wave of ghost wail hit him. He was losing focus, being so close to the source of that. I just thought about it, but since Ghostbusters exists in this world, this means that Evil Danny took down the Ghostbusters. That's kind of scary. He cried out as the wave of the ghost wail hit him. He was losing focus, being so close to the source of that. He tried to move, but he hurt all over. He could see other ghosts floating there, as they too had been hit by the wave. It was obvious that Morbius didn't care about his minions. Skulker felt a hand on his throat as he was pulled up face to face with Morbius.
The power that belongs to...
Skulker tried to choke out the name Danny Phantom, but was too hurt to do anything else.
Yes. The boy. It's a souvenir from my last battle with him. I doubt he will even realize it's missing. But anyway, I must commend you.
He looked to the left and extended his hand as Ember's unconscious form floated towards him. He took hold of her as well.
I see that you two care for one another, and when I do sympathize, I do know what is to fall for another woman, and to sacrifice for her, and I know the pain of separation all too well. So I shall grant you a mercy I was denied. You both shall be together, as my minions.
His eyes glowed with a dark power as Skulker grunted out as he felt his energy drain from his body. He looked over to see Ember's form twitching, trying to feign to reach out. His hand trying to reach her was the last thing he could see before being taken over by the darkness of Morbius' power. After the two new ghosts were drained, Morbius would let them recover. He was nearly there now. He could feel it. He just needed a few more ghosts, and he would have all the power he would need. He began falling off when two minions had gone after the box ghost, returning with a tow.
Oh, please! Oh, please, don't do it! I'll do anything! Just don't do that to me, too!
He begged.
Morbius looked at the ghost and turned away.
You. I'll not waste my time. Leave him. We have more fun just again. This fever one is useless to me.
Huh?
The vice ghost was dropped, and the minions just left him there, and for a moment he was relieved. But the fact that he wasn't even worth draining? Oh,
that hurts! I mean, come on! I'm the almighty box ghost! Take me, damn it! I'm just so powerful, feed on my energy!
And then hit him while he was saying,
What am I? Stupid?
He just ran off, hoping to find a place to hold up while everything blew over, although it still stung that Morbius wouldn't even take him.
I swear to Celestia, if this fic ends with the Barskos coming in, riding on some sort of horse, looking all sorts of badass as he saves the day at the last moment, being unexpected. I will love this fic forever. Even more so than I do now. Speaking of which, Sunday, we're doing more. Don't worry, I want to do more of this fic. Good golly, isn't it addicting?